Abby Tedros here at the WBTV News Now desk, and I'm coming to you live with a breaking news update. It's a story that we have been following for more than 24 hours now. A standoff in a southwest Charlotte neighborhood. We know that standoff this afternoon has finally come to an end. Our Paige Peroso is live at that scene right now. You're in the area of Tryon Street. I understand that this happened on Prideland Court. What led up to this ending, Paige?
Well, Abby, we were actually just getting the first view of where this all happened in the neighborhood here on Prideland Court. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see the house that police have been focusing on for the last nearly 25 hours. The standoff has been going on, and they have been trying to negotiate and talk a man out of this home safely and without any injury. But we have just been told in the last hour that CMPD around 12:30 today heard a gunshot from inside the residence and then observed as someone fall to the ground. Later on, they tell us they believe that that man killed himself inside this home. Now, we don't know anything about the man, but that is how this nearly 25-hour standoff finally came to an end. But it was not without the hard work and dedication, from what police say, of trying to get this man out of the house safely. They say they put a lot of work into trying to make sure they could try and get this man out. And it was a lot of work, they say, over the last 25 hours. Many of the people here today have been here since yesterday when this all first happened.
Wow, Paige, and when you say more than 24 hours, I'm thinking of the 3 separate crews from WBTV that were out on that scene. You're the 3rd crew responding to this situation, and now it's finally come to an end. I understand that CMPD says that they're placing a heavy emphasis on mental health. So how have they done that?
Yeah, so over the last, 2 years or so with the department, they've had this really emphasis on mental health and making sure that their officers are trained, but also using other resources, especially in situations like this when there is someone who is going through some kind of mental health crisis. They use a team called the Community Policing Crisis Response Team, and those are trained people who work with police officers who are trained to speak with someone who's going through a crisis similar to something like this, or any kind of crisis, really, and they work together. So with the negotiation, it wasn't just the CMPD negotiation team, it was also this specific unit. And then police tell us that this man's family, friends, and co-workers were all on the phone with him as well, sometimes even in a 4-way call, trying to speak to this man, trying to get him to come out of this home peacefully and safely and without any injury.
And it's just unfortunate that it ended in one death, as you describe, after you've heard from police. Again, this was a days-long standoff, one day, 25 hours, as you say. Neighbors deeply impacted by this, as police cruisers outline that neighborhood, and CMS also saying that that was affecting families as they dropped off their kids in that neighborhood. Talk to me about the impact this has had on the neighborhood.
Yeah, like I said, this was the first time we were even able to enter into the neighborhood. We have been across the street where police have kind of barricaded the neighborhood. They wanted to make sure that neighbors were safe in the situation. When police first got here, they knew that there was a man with a shotgun going through a mental health crisis. So they made sure to evacuate many of the neighbors who were nearby this home, and then kind of blocked off the neighborhood. So a lot of neighbors were not able to go in or out of the neighborhood. And like you mentioned, some students had to stay home from school today because a bus could not get into the neighborhood to pick those students up. So I spoke to one high schooler who said she missed a test today. She's going to have to remake that. And then, lots of families said they had to figure out other ways to do their errands today. But many of the neighbors also said that although there was some inconveniences, they didn't mind because they wanted the police to have the space they needed to work to try and get this situation resolved safely. Of course, unfortunately, like we said, that has not happened today. But many neighbors were focused on that when we spoke with them earlier this morning.
Well, Paige, I appreciate your time. I know that you're busy gathering more content for the afternoon broadcast, so we'll let you get to that. In the meantime, though, if you are interested in gathering details as we learn them from police, you can always head over to our website. This story is on the homepage right now. SWAT standoff in Southwest Charlotte comes to an end after 24 hours. Our digital team is continuing to update this, just updated in the last 15 minutes. You, of course, can always tune in or log on to WBTV.com, and then we, of course, will have another update for you during our afternoon broadcasts.